We are opening with mandated breaking news for this Defense Report special deep dive. Germany's RCH-155 SUPIY has boosted Ukraine's firepower. January 6, 2026. If you support Ukraine, understanding the strategic shift caused by military technology like this is absolutely essential. That's why we bring you the facts and the context. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex. Join me with Area, the latest deep dive by Defense Report, for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we're going to cover, well, the delivery of one of the most operationally advanced artillery systems ever fielded on the European continent, the German RCH-155.
And the sources we're looking at today, from the technical assessments to frontline reports, they make it really clear this isn't just about another piece of hardware showing up.
Not at all.
Our mission here is to unpack the strategic implications. So, why is this single systems delivery such a massive signal of Europe's long-term commitment? How is its design a direct response to the drone war? And, what does its adoption tell us about the future of ground combat?
And when you dive into the specs, the RCH-155 tells a really clear story of adaptation. I mean, here's a piece of weaponry that can launch rounds while it's traveling at speeds up to 100 kilometers per hour.
100 kilometers an hour.
That capability it completely redefines the concept of shoot and scoot.
It absolutely does. And the battlefield is changing so fast that even this brand new advanced technology is already driving its own evolution. We're seeing reports that Ukrainian commanders are already calling for the manufacturer to prioritize specialized companion counter-drone versions.
Because the threat is just that high.
It's pervasive. And critically, this initial delivery is just the tip of the iceberg. This is part of a 54-unit order for Ukraine, and it's cemented by these huge German and broader EU pledges for hundreds of thousands of new 155mm artillery shells.
So we're talking about integrating high-tech hardware with real industrial scale.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this system and its strategic value.
So the big moment, the handover, that happened back in January 2025. The first remote-controlled howitzer 155, the RCH-155, was officially transferred to Ukraine from the manufacturer, KNDS.
And that kicks off a much larger program. It really marks a commitment that goes way beyond just immediate military aid.
Right, this isn't a one-off.
Exactly. This wasn't a single donation. It's the start of a deep, long-term supply chain. The full commitment sees Ukraine getting 54 of these systems, all funded through German aid, and you can see how that order was built up, strategically. An initial 18 units in 2022, then followed by 2 more batches of 18 in 2024. This kind of consistent scaling, it just shows real long-term planning.
Okay, so to really understand the RCH-155, we need to look at its architecture. It's built on a foundation of proven firepower, right? It borrows the artillery gun module, the AGM.
Which is essentially the turret system from the tracked PZH-2000.
Exactly. But instead of tracks, it mounts this whole system onto the highly mobile, wheeled, Boxer, multi-role armored vehicle chassis. And this RCH variant is the heaviest version of the Boxer out there right now, weighing in at around 39 tons.
And that move to wheels, that's the key strategic decision here. The RCH-155 takes the established shoot-and-scoot doctrine and just puts it on steroids.
It accelerates it.
Completely. On a modern battlefield, reconnaissance drones have made any fixed or slow-moving artillery an instant target. Standing still for even a minute to stabilize and fire is a risk few can afford anymore.
That makes perfect sense for evasion, but I'm curious about the trade-offs. You mentioned the 39-ton weight. Does moving from a tracked system like the PZH-2000 to the wheeled Boxer compromise its off-road mobility, especially in the infamous Ukrainian mud during the Rasputitsa season?
That's a great point, and the sources really address it through logistics. While yes, a tracked vehicle like the PZH-2000 might have superior cross-country performance in the absolute worst conditions.
Right.
The Boxer chassis provides these immense strategic advantages. It needs far less logistical support, significantly lower maintenance, and, crucially, wheeled vehicles are just much faster. They wear out less when deploying over long distances.
So it simplifies strategic transport, too.
It's a major factor in sustaining a long war. The Boxer platform can be moved more easily and efficiently across the entire European continent to the border.
So the high mobility isn't just about escaping counter-battery fire at the front line. It's about strategic deployment across the whole theater of operations.
And that mobility is fused with some really serious offensive capability. We're talking about a .52 caliber barrel that gives It ranges up to approximately 70 kilometers.
So when you combine that speed and that long reach, the window for Russian counter-battery radar to acquire, track, and target is, well, it's virtually non-existent before the RCH-155 is already kilometers away.
Let's talk about the automation that really enables this mobility. The AGM turret is incredibly advanced. It has a 30-round magazine, and it's capable of a continuous rate of fire of 9 rounds per minute. The whole system is designed to be highly autonomous.
Which is why it only needs a crew of 2.
A reduced crew of just 2 people.
I mean, operating with only 2 crew members, that's a massive boost to manpower efficiency, which is absolutely critical for Ukraine. What specific functions does the automation handle that makes a 2-person operation even possible?
Essentially, everything inside that turret. The fire control computations, the loading, the aiming, it's all automated. The 2-person crew is mainly there for command, for monitoring, and for driving.
But there must be limitations.
Of course, that efficiency has its limits. The process of completely replenishing that 30-round magazine is still a major logistical hurdle. Reports say it takes about 10 minutes, even with a dedicated resupply vehicle, and it has to be done undercover.
And that brings us directly to the survival strategy. If you're fielding a high-value, lean crew asset like this, survival is everything. And survival means countering that constant aerial surveillance. This is where it gets really interesting.
The feedback from the front was direct. Ukrainian forces reportedly didn't mince words. They warned KNDS that the risk of drone strikes against high-value artillery is, quote, extremely high.
And that direct feedback is driving the next stage of modernization.
It is. KNDS is responding by actively designing a dedicated mobile air defense system. And this new system is intended to share the RCH-155's high maneuverability, specifically so it can operate alongside and protect the artillery by shooting down drones.
While both vehicles are moving.
While both are moving, developing mobile air defense that can keep pace with a 100-kilometer artillery system must be technologically, incredibly demanding. The integration software has to be lightning fast.
It has to be.
It is, which just highlights the critical role of software integration. This new counter-drone system, once it's fielded, will be linked directly into Ukraine's indigenous Kropyva battlefield management platform.
We hear Kropyva mentioned so often. For you listening, what exactly does this proprietary platform do in an operational sense?
Kropyva is a real-time command and control system. It synchronizes targeting data from all sorts of sources, drones, reconnaissance, radar, and it feeds that data straight into the artillery system's fire control computer almost instantaneously.
Wow.
This level of coordination means artillery operations can be seamlessly synchronized with their mobile air defense, allowing units to stay dispersed yet still protected. That's the real definition of a networked, transparent battlefield tool.
And to provide immediate protection, the delivery of the RCH-155 was accompanied by 9 Boxer RCT-30 IFVs.
Right, the ATO-30 FDCs.
Which are specially configured for counter-drone operations. So this immediately creates a mobile counter-UAS shield for the newly deployed artillery. Yeah. It's a clear recognition that modern self-propelled guns just cannot operate alone on the front line anymore.
And it's so crucial we place this advanced hardware delivery into the broader geopolitical context of Europe's industrial mobilization. A handful of RCH-155s, they won't win the war alone.
They need massive sustained support.
Exactly. And that support is defined by the volume of ammunition. Germany's commitment here is huge, planning to provide 500,000 artillery shells in 2025 alone.
That's a powerful contribution toward the EU's incredibly ambitious target of supplying 2 million shells this year.
And those targets really highlight the massive industrial bottleneck Europe is trying to overcome. We know 92,000 shells had already been delivered earlier in the year, with 69,000 of those being the critical 155mm NATO standard rounds.
Why is that caliber switch to 155mm so strategically important right now?
It's all about range dominance. NATO standard 155mm guns, particularly the .52 caliber barrels you find on systems like the RCH-155, typically have an operational range of 40 kilometers or more with standard rounds.
And up to 70 with rocket-assisted projectiles.
Right, and this gives them a distinct critical range advantage over most Russian systems, which largely top out at around 30 kilometers. This range forces Russian counter-battery systems to pull back or face elimination.
And that range advantage contributes directly to the precision advantage. Sources indicate that Russia's quantitative shell advantage has dropped dramatically.
From a staggering 10-to-1 ratio earlier in the war.
Down to roughly 2-to-1 now, but the sheer volume is only half the story. Superior Western fire control and network targeting means Ukraine can achieve effective fire superiority even when firing fewer rounds.
It's a case of quality beating quantity, and the confidence in the RCH-155 platform is now spreading across European military doctrine. We saw the UK select the RCH-155 as the successor to its aging AS-90 artillery fleet.
Making it the second confirmed European user. That's a huge doctrinal shift.
It is, and that decision was immediately reinforced by a joint procurement effort. The UK acquired one early capability demonstrator platform as part of a joint £52 million contract with Germany, which is getting two systems for shared testing.
And this deal directly reinforces the Trinity House Agreement from October 2024.
And if we connect that to the bigger picture, the Trinity House Agreement is a pact for military collaboration, specifically designed to standardize and scale European defense production. By choosing the RCH-155 jointly, the UK and Germany are cementing it as a foundational system for the European theater.
Which ensures future interoperability in supply chains.
And that's the ultimate strategic signal of long-term commitment.
Okay, so let's tie all of this tech discussion back to the current ground reality. The consensus seems clear. The proliferation of drones hasn't just complicated things, it has fundamentally diminished the traditional role of slow, heavy systems like tanks.
And it's made non-mobile artillery a complete liability.
This has led to some really stark predictions about the nature of this conflict. Commander Robert Brovdy of Ukraine's UAV Systems Brigade, a leading voice in drone warfare. He predicts a continuous, unforgiving, 40-kilometer-wide kill zone along the entire front line.
He argues that any movement of vehicles or even infantry will be impossible unless the airspace is decisively cleared. The whole front is becoming a continuous dead zone for anything that stands still.
So the RCH-155 is Europe's answer to surviving that kill zone.
It has to be. And you can see this technological adaptation happening in real time if we look at the frontline snapshot from January 4th. Russian forces have resumed offensive operations in northern Kyiv and Sumy, often using small infiltration groups.
And this tactic sources are calling the zombie approach.
Yes, these small groups of 5 or 6 relying heavily on electronic warfare and anti-drone guns for local protection, just trying to breach Ukrainian lines with a very low signature.
I'm curious how a system like the RCH-155 specifically counters those low-signature zombie infiltration tactics.
Well, the RCH-155's speed and its automated precision are crucial here. While these zombie tactics are designed to evade large-scale artillery strikes and surveillance, the RCH-155 can deploy rapidly to fire high-precision rounds, supported by that real-time Kropieva data.
Hitting small, localized targets before those groups can entrench themselves.
Exactly. It minimizes the time the high-value asset is exposed while maximizing the lethality of a surgical strike. It's a world away from the static, massive barrages of older artillery.
Meanwhile, in contrast to the Western high-tech systems entering the conflict, Moscow is increasing its dependency on outside allies. Reports indicate Russia plans to procure up to 240 M1989 Koksan SPGs from North Korea in 2025.
Which are older, heavy systems. They offer a 40-kilometer range, but the move just highlights Russia's continued need to tap foreign arsenals to maintain sheer long-range artillery depth, rather than innovating domestically.
And while defending the front with systems like the RCH-155, Ukraine is also demonstrating its increasing strategic reach.
Kyiv has been successfully striking deep against Russian military infrastructure, including recent successful attacks on targets like the Tambov gunpowder factory. We also have reports that a 1,000-kilometer version of the Neptune ground strike cruise missile is nearing completion,
offering significant long-term deterrence that keeps Russian logistics under constant threat.
The RCH-155 delivery is a powerful symbol. It shows Europe's dual strategic commitment. First, providing massive conventional material support, like the promised 500,000 German shells.
And second, fielding highly specialized, protected, and extremely mobile systems designed specifically to counter the unique challenges of continuous drone surveillance and precision strike.
The future of artillery survival is unequivocally dependent on speed and electronic integration. The RCH-155 is now the benchmark for NATO doctrine, proving that high-mobility wheeled platforms are the logical evolution for any asset that hopes to evade a 247 transparent battlefield. But if the operational analysis proves Commander Brovdy right, that the front line is truly turning into a 40-kilometer dead zone where stationary targets are instantly killed, then we have to ask, is a high-cost, two-person system like the RCH-155 delivered over years enough to shift the balance? Or does Europe need to radically accelerate the scale of EW-protected low-crew shoot-and-scoot artillery to flood the entire front line and truly secure fire dominance? That's the question you should be mulling over.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.